Hey, what's going on, guys? This is TabMock99. Mortal Kombat's taken inspiration from a lot of different religions. And it wasn't all that long ago that I put together a video showing how Mortal Kombat was influenced by Christianity. Now, of course, Christianity is not the only religion, or even the main religion that's the inspiration for Mortal Kombat. So in today's video, I'm going to show you all the different world religions that have inspired Mortal Kombat. Now, of course, if you want to know anything about Mortal Kombat, you ask TabMock99. If you want to know about anything else, you ask Encarta 99. That's right, an entire encyclopedia available on CD-ROM. We truly have entered the information age. But first, if you're as devout a Mortal Kombat fan as I am, then subscribe to this channel, and also hit that notification bell so you can get notified anytime a new video drops on this channel. That being said, let's go right into the topic at hand, Mortal Kombat and religion. Shinto is a Japanese religion that, according to Encarta, dates back to prehistoric times. It's no exaggeration to say that Shinto was the very first out of all the world religions to inspire Mortal Kombat. I'm going to start by talking about the two most obvious figures from Shinto to be involved in Mortal Kombat, Raiden and Fujin. They're both right here on my shirt. Raiden, or if we're being technical, Raiden, really that should be Raijin. Yeah, that's right. There's even a reference to the name Raijin in Mortal Kombat 11. Anyway, Raijin literally drums up thunder with these drums of thunder that he carries around with him at all times. Fujin, the old windbag, carries around a bag of wind. There's an old issue of GamePro magazine where John Tobias is quoted as saying, Raiden is actually a Japanese mythological character, a thunder god. At Chicago's Field Museum, the Raiden statue is a demon, and he carries around a big drum. From what I've read, he was kind of a braggart and a womanizer. I basically took the name and built on that. Our Raiden doesn't carry a drum around. But let's go back to that Shinto article again. It says that worship centered on a vast pantheon of spirits, or kami. Yeah, the Japanese word kami translates to spirits, or gods. In fact, that's the inspiration for the word kami-dogu.
You must find 6 items of great importance. The kami-dogu. Think of them as tools of the gods.
Now I know what you're thinking. Gee, I wish I could have my own kami-dogu. Well, guess what? You actually can. Thanks to the online store, Another Dimension 3D, you too can have your very own set of all 6 kami-dogu. Earthrealm, Netherrealm, Chaos Realm, Outworld, Order Realm, and Edenia can all be yours. Check out Another Dimension 3D now. Another thing from Shinto is the Tengu. According to the book Ninja, the Invisible Assassins, Tengu are winged, long-nosed goblins. They're the legendary original ninja from whom all ninja are said to have spawned from. You might remember that in Mortal Kombat Armageddon, the Tengu were a rival clan to the Lin Kuei.
And what is a Lin Kuei?
The Lin Kuei are a rival clan of powerful warriors. You fight with such skill, I mistook you for one of their ranks. We Tengu have an uneasy truce with the Lin Kuei, and we avoid their territory.
Buddhism is one of those things that's considered a philosophy and a religion. It started in India, which is where Buddha lived. From there, it traveled across the Silk Road to continue to countries like China, Japan, Thailand, and apparently Shang Tsung's island. I'm not sure why Shang Tsung decided to erect a giant Buddha statue, but I'm sure he has his reasons. There was a cool tidbit of information released in the Mortal Kombat 2 Collector's Magazine. It says, for Mortal Kombat 1, John Vogel set out to capture the mystical outworld on videotape. Vogel himself was quoted as saying, the big Buddha actually was just a little lawn ornament in one of my neighbor's front yard. I know what you're thinking. I wish I could have my own Buddha lawn ornament. Well, guess what? Actually, you can. Thanks again to the same store as before, Another Dimension 3D. You too can have your very own Buddha statue, just like the one filmed for the Palace Gate stage in the original Mortal Kombat. In fact, no Mortal Kombat collection is complete without it. Daoism is another one of those things that's considered both a philosophy and a religion. The name roughly translates to the way, or if we want to be precise, the way of the 10,000 things. The number 10,000 is used a lot in Chinese philosophy in general to symbolize a very great number. This could be why, in Mortal Kombat, the phrase 10,000 years shows up a lot. Shao Kahn's plan began 10,000 years ago. Princess Kitana's 10,000 years old. This number is most likely not a coincidence, but inspired by the Chinese philosophy of Taoism. Also, the yin-yang is a well-known symbol from Taoism. This symbol represents good and evil, but most of all the balance between the two. In Mortal Kombat, you see yin-yangs all over the place, from Goro's belt buckle to the Edenian Kamidogu, and perhaps most of all as background symbols in various stages. In fact, this last one has become a bit of a trope. Dragons up the yin-yang. Whenever you see a work of fiction that features East Asian mysticism, the odds that there will be dragons and yin-yangs everywhere is somewhere around 100%.
Chinese mythology.
We covered this one before in previous videos, but it's worth mentioning again. Remember the One Being and how, coincidentally, he bears a resemblance to Pan Ku from Chinese mythology. Here's a snippet from the Mortal Kombat novel by Jeff Robin going over the same thing. And in fact, there's a whole other video to watch if you want to take a deep dive on the One Being specifically. The book also mentions Tien, the supreme god created from Pan Ku's soul when he died. There's even this poem about what he looks like. Look at these eyes and imagine them deep. Life comes when they open, death when they weep. Are there two lips that speak mightier words, on whose wings souls can soar higher than birds? His nose moves the air that nourishes all, the seeds in the spring, the frost in the fall. Tien isn't just a god. Over time, the name Tien has come to refer to heaven itself. There's other gods mentioned in the Mortal Kombat novel. One of them is Shang-Ti, god of the mountains and the rivers. Another one is Yu, the god of the waterways and tunnels. Yu is described as having the muscular torso of a man, the head of a wolf, the lower body of a mountain cat, the shell of a beetle, the forelegs of a frog, the hind legs of a bear, and the tail of a scorpion.
Greek mythology.
Mortal Kombat has a surprising number of references to Greek mythology. More than you'd expect. More than anything else covered in this video. From the very beginning, in the first Mortal Kombat game, Shang Tsung was supposed to unbalance the Furies, the positive and negative forces that govern the universe. In Greek mythology, the Furies were something different altogether. These avenging deities are the three sisters known as the Avenger of Murder, the Jealous One, and one unceasing in anger. In Mortal Kombat, the Furies are present, but they're not conscious entities. They're in the background. In practice, they operate more like the Force from Star Wars. So this is a similarity in name only. If there's one thing from Greek mythology that's the most obvious presence in Mortal Kombat, it's gotta be the centaurs. They were referred to as Centaurians in their first appearance in Mortal Kombat 3, but just centaurs after that. The only one we've really seen in-game is Motaro. In Greek mythology, centaurs were characterized by savageness and violence, although there have been a couple of exceptions. A few years ago, I went to Greece and I took some pictures of centaur sculptures. They really are good at one-on-one fights. Minotaurs are another one from Greek mythology. Minotaurs have the head of a bull, but the body of a man. Motaro was depicted as a minotaur in Mortal Kombat Armageddon. This is because the 3D engine didn't have the capacity to fully render Motaro, though the in-game explanation was that there was a Shokan curse to transform all centaurs into minotaurs. Cerberus is another one. Cerberus is a three-headed dog who guards the entrance to the afterlife. There was a dog character planned for Mortal Kombat Mythology's Sub-Zero, shown here in John Tobias' artwork and referred to as the Netherrealm Hound. Years later, people dug up some sprites found in the game's code and released them on the cutting room floor. In Mortal Kombat 9, you can actually see the full three-headed Cerberus in the background in Scorpion's lair. Then there's Zeus, the most well-known among the Greek pantheon of gods. Zeus is not only the god of thunder, but also the ruler of the other Olympian gods. A few years ago, when I visited Greece, one of the stops I made was at the Olympian Temple of Zeus in Athens. Now, you might be thinking that Mortal Kombat doesn't have any reference to Zeus, but actually, Mortal Kombat 4 runs on the Zeus ship. With the upcoming release of the MK Legacy Collection at the end of the month, I have a feeling you guys are going to be seeing a lot more of this screen in the near future. Now let's talk about Gaia. In Greek mythology, Gaia is the personification of Mother Earth. This could be the inspiration behind Earth being called the Mother Realm back in Mortal Kombat 2, but there's a more direct reference. Gaia is mentioned briefly in Jeff Robin's Mortal Kombat novel, though she's regarded as nothing more than a myth. Next up is Argus. In Greek mythology, Argus is the name of a 100-eyed giant. This is another one of those things where the similarity is in name only. In Mortal Kombat Armageddon, Argus is the protector god who watches over the realm of Edenia. He's the father of Taven and Dagon, and also has a third illegitimate son, Rain. Now let's talk about Charon. In Greek mythology, Charon is in charge of the ferry boat that takes human souls across the river Styx. Yeah, that's how your soul goes from the land of the living to the underworld. In Mortal Kombat 11, Charon is shown for the first time, and he works the exact same way. In true Mortal Kombat style, the spelling of his name is changed from a C to a K. This might be a good time to talk about the Titans. Starting with Mortal Kombat 11, the Titans are revealed as being above the Elder Gods. But in Greek mythology, the Titans and the Elder Gods were the same thing. Interestingly, the most important of the Titans is said to be Cronus. Cronus is not only in charge of time itself, but is also the ruler of the universe. It's from the Greek name Cronus that we get words like chronological. Cronus is also the inspiration for Kronika.
So cool because she's the first female boss character that we've had in the game. She is the boss of bosses, and I'm very excited to have people finally see who's been running the show all along. One of the biggest challenges with Kronika was what she was going to look like. She actually started off as a male character, and we tried a number of different concepts that just wasn't resonating with us. Somebody on the team, suggested, what if we make this character female? And at that point, everything just kind of clicked together.
Also, there's a god in Greek mythology named Geras. Geras is the god of old age, and he's often depicted as a tiny old man. Geras is where we get words like geriatric. In Mortal Kombat, Geras is an artificial construct, built by Kronika. He faithfully serves her goal of restarting time and rewriting history. By Kronika's design, Geras exists as a fixed point in time. Every time Geras is killed, he's reborn, each time becoming more resilient against the manner of his death.
Native American mythology.
Pretty much everything from Native American mythology is going to be centered around Nightwolf. We see this for the first time in Mortal Kombat 9. This is where it's revealed that Raiden is known by the name Heyoka to Nightwolf's tribe. We even see it in a cutscene where Nightwolf addresses him by this name directly.
Heyoka, how can Sub-Zero best help us?
In Mortal Kombat 11, we see references to the Great Spirit. The Great Spirit is revealed to be the one who chose Nightwolf to become his people's champion and protector. The Great Spirit is also revealed to be a woman.
You've met the Great Spirit?
We fought side by side, defending Earthrealm.
She's never mentioned it.
In Native American mythology, the Great Spirit is sometimes known as the Great Mystery, and is represented as a single deity, as well as an assemblage of other deities, such as sun, wind, earth, and rock.
Hindu.
What's a Hindu?
It lays eggs.
Well, Hindu's actually an interesting one to cover. In Mortal Kombat 3, they introduce us to Shiva, the first female Shokan character. Her name obviously bears similarity to Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction. In Hindu, Shiva's role is important as part of the cycle of regeneration. With the 4 arms, though, Shiva's appearance is actually more like the Hindu goddess Kali. Kali is a major goddess in Hinduism, associated with time, death, and destruction. So, a couple things here. First, this explains why they colored Shiva's skin blue in this Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm pamphlet that was included on the DVD release in certain countries, like the UK. Second, this explains why, in Mortal Kombat Armageddon, Shiva was transformed into a goddess of destruction. Yeah, a very clear reference to Hindu here. It's also worth pointing out that in the live-action TV show, Mortal Kombat Conquest, there was a character named Kali. This is probably another reference to Hindu.
Aztec.
Now, I know I said most Native American references were centered around Nightwolf, but when it comes to the Aztec tribe, they're all centered around Kotal Khan. Even his name, Kotal, is actually a butchering of a real name, Coatl, or more accurately, Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl is known as the feathered serpent or the plumed serpent. This certainly explains his appearance. A lot of the names for his combos and movesets emphasize that Kotal Khan is worshipped by the Aztecs as a god. Even the name Aztec is clearly an alternate pronunciation of Aztec. Now this part is really cool. There was a book released in Mexico, featuring Kotal Khan right on the front cover. It's called Compendio de Historias Tradiciones de las Calles de Mexico, or the Compendium of Stories, Traditions, and Legends of the Streets of Mexico. I haven't been able to get a copy of this book. It's super rare and probably out of print. But if you're able to track one of these things down, let me know down in the comments below. That would mean a lot. I do need to give a huge shout out to my friend, the Collector MX, for sending in this high quality picture of the cover. Muchos gracias, amigo.
African mythology.
Now I know what you're thinking. There can't be that much of a connection between African mythology and Mortal Kombat. Well, you'd be forgiven for thinking so. It was over a decade ago, but there was an author named C. Dean Anderson who wrote 2 books that never saw the light of day, Reptile's World and Shango's Thunder. If you look up either of these books online, you can find a little bit of information about them, but there really isn't a whole lot to go on. If you look it up, you can still see some of the publisher's information on this book. While tracking the evil Kano, Sonya Blade and Jackson Jax Briggs are attacked. The deadly Zara poisons Jax and takes Sonya Blade prisoner. But Jax is not dead. Shango, the African thunder god, comes to him in a vision. He shows Jax how to survive the poison and gives him the strength of the thunder god. Now Jax must catch up to Zara. So I actually reached out to the author. I reached out to C. Dean Anderson directly. I told him, hi, I'm trying to reach C. Dean Anderson about a couple of books that he's written. Mortal Kombat Jr. novel, Reptile's World, and Shango's Thunder. I've never been able to find them anywhere, even though I do see references to them online and even found some ISBN numbers for them. Is this C. Dean Anderson? And if so, do you still have a copy of the books or the manuscripts anywhere? If so, I'd love to be able to read them. To my surprise, he actually wrote back. He said, yes, I wrote those 2 books, but they got lost in something called Lawyer's Limbo and were never published. The publisher liked them, but had not gotten all the licensing agreements with the owners of the Mortal Kombat game properly in place, and so the books died before they reached the printers. It was close enough for one to get an ISBN, as you noted, but no cigar. He even followed up a second time to say, I may have already answered this, but I can't find a record that I have, so in case I haven't, the publisher has the books, or at least I assume they still have them somewhere, or maybe they've trashed them, who knows. I believe I do have copies on diskettes somewhere, but I haven't seen them for years, and I'm not sure modern computers could still even read them. If I do ever come across them, or printouts that may or may not still exist in my has been needing to be sorted through and rearranged for years writing room, I'll keep your request in mind. By the way, I recall that the first MK movie came out about the time the publisher contracted for the 2 books, and I listened to the movie soundtrack of the first film almost constantly while writing them. The first book used my interest in Norse mythology and the thunder god Thor, along with the other thunder gods from other mythologies like Changa or Shango from African mythology. And there was a thunder god contest in which the MK world was linked. Then it all ended up in the Norse underworld in the realm of the death goddess Hel and the ship Naglfar that is made from the fingernails of corpses. Cheerful Norse mythological stuff like that. The other one with Reptile took place, I think, in Africa and involved Jade, but it's been so long I don't remember too much about that one now. I'll see if I can find more on them sometime and let you know. The publisher had even gone so far as to have a cover done for the first one. I have a print of that somewhere, so maybe I can find it and send you a JPEG sometime. Hope springs eternal. Well guys, thanks for joining me on this journey as we explore different world religions and how they've impacted Mortal Kombat. We've done a lot of research, not only through Encarta 99, but also through a lot of different books. Some of which I have in my possession, some of which are super rare and I don't. Some of which have never even seen the light of day. But there is one book that I have that I highly recommend. It's called Mortal Doctrine by Philip Ahn. That's right, the actor who played Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat 2 has written not 1, not 2, but 3 books. This is the 3rd in his series, and this one touches on all the different world religions. After Mortal Doctor and Mortal Discipline comes Mortal Doctrine. Test your faith, finish your destiny, faithality. The guy whose famous catchphrase is, "Your soul is mine," explores all the major religions and worldviews and takes you on a journey to discover what it means to have a soul. I don't want to give away too much, but here's a couple of posts that he's made on his own social media to give you a sneak preview. In one post, he talks about Raiden and Fujin coming from Shinto. The kami are also referenced on his post and shows how they influence Pokemon as well. You might notice the similarities between Raijin and Raichu. In another post, he talks about Shiva from Mortal Kombat 3 and how she's loosely based on the Hindu god Shiva, as well as the four-armed god Kali. So yeah, a lot of similarities. Definitely check out the book. I also want to give a huge shout out again to Another Dimension 3D. Check out his store, check out his Buddha, check out his Kamidogu. You gotta have this stuff in your collection. I also want to give a huge shout out to Evil Emperor X for help with his audio editing. Guys, if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. Leave a comment letting me know exactly what your thoughts are. Are there any other religious references that I may have missed? And of course, as I mentioned earlier, hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you can get notified every time a new Mortal Kombat video drops. Until next time, this is Tabmock99 saying, have a Buddhaful day.